So in the last stream, we finally made this small compact machine here, and we can go and take a quick look inside of it. It feels fantastic to have all of this space now. Previously, we were confined to a maximum of a 3x3x3, which is 27 total blocks. Now we have a 5x5x5 with a grand total of 125 blocks worth of space for us to move around in. Now, I'm not entirely sure what I should do with this initial space, because we could, if we wanted to move like our hub to the new area, we could move all of like this stuff here into the bigger room, because this room is kind of the most cramped of all the rooms. But what I want to work on in today's episode is I want to try and get some good foundational automation up and running, because as you may have noticed at the end of the last stream, we took a look at the next compact machine, which is this one here, close to a mansion. And this is quite the craft. To make it, we need 4 small machine pieces, as well as the traditional compact machine wall and machine casing. The 4 small machine pieces are made with a crusher from Immersive Engineering that we don't have yet, and we are going to have to build that, I think, in a 5x5 room. But, of course, with the crusher, we need 4 small compact machines. Each one of those requires 4 tiny compact machines, so therefore we need 16 of these tiny compact machines to make 4 small compact machines. 16 of these, therefore, requires just a ludicrous number, 64 compact machine wall, which needs 4 stacks of modularium, which needs 16 stacks of iron grit and uranium. I think my arithmetic adds up there, but that is just a ludicrous amount of uranium, of iron, and even without the 16 stacks, we still need like 4 stacks of redstone just to get all of the compact machines required to get the normal compact machine. You fancy giving the calculator another try? That might not be the worst idea in the world. So, in the last stream, we did get around to making the calculator, and I played around with it a little bit. It wasn't the most intuitive at the start. I didn't really understand how this would work, but I believe what we want to do, for example, if we wanted to teach this or to figure out how much iron we might need for a compact machine here, I think that we can look at a recipe. Let's start slower, shall we? Let's start with a small compact machine. We can shift-click on this move items here, and that will create a new recipe in the calculator. We can go ahead and click the save button, I believe, like that. And so now I think if we do this, the calculator knows that we need 4 compact machine wall, 4 tiny machine pieces, and 1 machine casing. Now, we want to get like a better breakdown than that. For example, if I want to know how much iron we'd need, I believe I have to break down each of these recipes and kind of teach those recipes to the calculator, if that makes sense. So for example, again, if we do this and we save that, and then we do this and we save, I think this one's already saved, which is why it can't be saved again. And then if we do like this and save that, and we basically just save all of these recipes, I think at that point, you can see now it's kind of starting to give us a better idea of the actual core resources that we're going to need for this small compact machine. The only thing it's missing right now is the recipe for tiny machine pieces. So let's go ahead and shift click that in as well. So you'll see now it knows that we need metal presses. It knows we need a ton of iron and wood. So to make 1 small compact machine, we need 368 iron dust, 368 uranium grit, and then 92 redstone, as well as a little bit of extra redstone, some wood, and then we technically only need the 1 press, but the way the calculator calculates it is a little different. And then for the next tier, if we teach it this, and we teach it this, I think we can then do that, and you'll see that we need 1,520 iron dust, as well as 1,520 uranium, 380 redstone, not including the 11 blocks of redstone, a stack of wood, and then, of course, just the 1 plate. So, a lot of resources, and so the focus of today's episode is going to be starting some basic automation so that hopefully we don't have to play the entire pack smacking pickaxes against the wall to get all of our resources, or at least not smacking pickaxes against the wall manually. So, there are a few things we need to automate. One, we already have the clickers, right? The clickers are in one of these chests. Actually, they're in my inventory. We have the auto clickers, and the auto clickers can do the pickaxe wall hitting for us, right? They can do that fairly easily, and it shouldn't be too hard, I don't think, for us to get a reasonable amount of power and to get these going reasonably fast. They do work without power, but they work very, very slowly. So ideally, we want to set a few of these up, put pickaxes in them, and give them a reasonable amount of power so they can actually get us, resources at a reasonable rate. Now, the problem with these is that we'd then have to automate pickaxes, right? Because otherwise we're having to manually put pickaxes in over and over and over again. And whilst initially that might not be a terrible idea, in fact, we could just like bulk make a ton of pickaxes, put them all into like a chest or a cache, and then have them like one by one dispensed down into the clicker. I think in an ideal world, we do some auto crafting. And there is in fact a quest in, I think, chapter 1 here. Yeah, we have this guy, the Sequential Fabricator, which allows us to automate the crafting of certain items. So for example, we could take the wood that's coming out of our sawmill here and auto-craft that into sticks. We could take some of the cobblestone that'll be coming out of one of our clickers. If we have a clicker with a wooden pickaxe, that will be getting the stone pebbles. We could then auto-fabricate those stone pebbles into cobblestone, and then in a second fabricator, or a third fabricator, I guess, we could auto-craft the cobblestone and the pickaxe and the sticks even into a cobblestone pickaxe to then feed into a second clicker, right? So I think it shouldn't be too hard for us to kind of automate the crafting of basically all of the pickaxes, I don't think. Like wood shouldn't be too hard, cobblestone shouldn't be too hard, iron we get from the cobblestone, so if we automate the smelting of the iron that comes out of the cobblestone pick, then that also shouldn't be too hard. It's just going to take a little bit of time to set up. Now, I don't think that the Sequential Fabricator is that difficult to make. It's not. We need 8 copper in the form of gears, a standard machine frame, 2 tin, a crafting table, and a redstone reception coil. So not too bad whatsoever. But the very first thing that we should automate, I think, is the growing of wood. Now, I don't love the fact that we have these two compact machines here. That this one's not really doing much. We do need this machine to make a more tiny compact machines, right? But I don't love it. And now I did do a little bit of testing between episodes, and we can, in fact, automate the watering can to make automatic growth of wood super fast. So what I'm thinking here, chat, is if we take our sawmill here, and for now we'll also take the decay generator as well. I think I kind of want to repurpose one of these 2 rooms because I also don't. I think I want to use this room as like a room for my auto clicker. Although maybe not. Maybe we can set things up in here. I'll use this room as like a starting point at the very least to kind of show you my idea here, chat. So the plan for what I want to do here involves an unlimited source of water. Now, this is not the most efficient way of setting this up, and you'll see why in just a second, but as you may have noticed, we are somewhat tight when it comes to space, and so I'm not really too bothered about being super efficient in terms of like productivity. I'm more focused about being super efficient in terms of space usage, right? So my thought here, chat, is if we do something like this and we put a clicker down. I want the clicker to point downwards, which is kind of hard to do on the lowest level. Can I rotate this with a wrench? Oh, it works. Nice. Okay. So with this pointing down, we can, once again, break this bit of dirt. So now we have unlimited water in the center there. And then what we can do is we can right-click all of these so that they become farmland. Like so. And I don't really think we need, again, I really don't think we need this much, like too many of these going. I think 1 is probably fine because my plan here is to have like 1 bonsai tree like this, and then another auto clicker right about there. So this auto clicker is going to right click and basically harvest the sticks that come off of the oak sapling there. And then this one over here is going to right click with the watering can. It's going to shift right click, I should say, with the watering can. And what that's going to do is it's going to pick up the water and also simultaneously increase the growth speed of the bonsai pot, of the bonsai oak sapling here. Now, in order for these to work with any degree of speed, they are of course going to need some form of power, especially the one with the watering can. I don't really think this one needs too much power. This doesn't need to be harvested, extremely fast. But for now, just to kind of show a proof of concept here, if we put down our decay generator like this, we should be able to speed this up. I'm not quite sure how much RF this thing produces. I think it's like maybe 20 RF per tick. It's not a crazy amount of redstone flux. You'll see that it's coming in rather slowly. I think we'll do a little bit of trial and error here to see what works. It looks like tier 2 is too fast, so we'll go to tier 1. But the idea is that this clicker here is going to continually use the watering can to speed up the growth of this bonsai tree. This auto clicker is then going to occasionally harvest this bonsai tree. And then the final piece of the puzzle, chat, to bring it all together is if we grab one of the uppers, aka a hopper in reverse, a hopper that can suck upwards as opposed to, I guess, like collect downwards. If we get one of these, what we can, and I think it's like that, yeah. What we can then do is in here, we can put the upper right about there-ish, like that. Now, I guess in an ideal world, we want a chest above that, but when this is harvested, it should automatically suck up all of the twigs that come out of there, and then at that point, I guess we could maybe look at just automatically funneling that stuff into the sawmill, like just straight away from here into the sawmill, and then like into a cache filled with wood, or something like that, right? That's the plan. Now, to get this plan really in action, we need power. And I think I'm going to go with the suggestion of the quest book here, because over in the bottom right, it says it's possible to fit 12 thermoelectric generators inside a single tiny machine if you place fluid ducts in the center, water and uranium in all corners, and a thermoelectric generators along the edges. So basically, you would have thermoelectric generators. Imagine a 3x3 room. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like that. And then you would have uranium like down here, uranium down here, water down here, water down here, and then flux ducts in the middle. And that will allow you to pull power from all 12 flux ducts. It will use all 27 blocks of the smaller 3x3 room. And then if you place a power tunnel, which is one of these guys right here, you can then transfer that power from inside the compact machine out and into other machines. So that's the plan. So if we're going to make this work, though, that does mean that we need 12 thermoelectric generators. Now, I think each of these produces 20 redstone flux per tick. So they can produce up to 40 if you use all of the sides. So, for example, again, a thermoelectric generator looks like this. Normally, you would put uranium on one side, water on the other. That produces 20. If you then put uranium and water on the other sides, I believe it then produces 40 redstone flux per tick. But again, in this pack, we're not really so focused on optimizing for efficiency. We're trying mostly to optimize for space. And so I think the way that it's recommended in the pack here, whilst it does require more generators to get the same redstone flux, it gets you the most RF like per block of space, I think. If that makes sense, it's a lot easier to kind of cram more of them into a small space. But the long and short of it is that 12 thermoelectric generators in a 3x3 tiny compact machine should produce us, I believe, 240 redstone flux per tick, which allows us to run not only this guy, who requires 20 RF per tick, but also our auto clicker at potentially some of the higher speed. We could go all the way up to speed 6 and have it, right click 4 times per second, which is nice and fast. All right, so let's see here. Thermoelectric generator. We already have the one. So in theory, we only need to make 11 more, which means we'd need 33 more steel, 11 more copper coil blocks, and then, 55 more Constantan plates, which is quite the craft, but I don't think it's going to be too difficult. We do already have the 33 steel. We can move these, right? So someone did recommend in the Twitch chat moving these tiny compact machines, and I don't think that's a terrible idea. They recommended moving them into the new room, the 5x5 room, and putting them somewhere up high, simply due to the fact that we don't really need that much vertical space in the new room, and it gives us kind of more space here to place things down and move around and whatnot. So over here we could kind of put our farming and small compactor machines just kind of up on the roof there. It does make them a little bit more tricky to access, but really it's just right clicking when we need to. So that should be fine. Now, and I guess not. I was gonna say maybe we should put this compact machine inside this compact machine, if that makes sense. Like kind of switch out what we have right now and put this small one inside the big one. So pick the big one up, go back out one more level, pick up this one that we're in, and then put this one down, go back in it, and then put this one inside that one, if that makes sense. There's so many levels of compactness going on here, but I'm kind of thinking if we go another level deeper and basically pick everything up like this, we can then put this down, head back in. Thought we might crash for a second there. Thankfully we didn't. And then put this like over here somewhere. I was going to put it here, but we might have stuff like next to the sawmill. And now we can rename this to like storage or something for now. And kind of make this, a nice big room. So let's see. What do we need here? We need sticks in the middle. Gets us the ludicrous amount of LV wire. That should get us 11 copper coil blocks. And then finally, chat, kapow, we get 11 thermoelectric generators. Wow, that took a lot more time than I initially anticipated. However, now, if we go over into our machine, I think it's in here, right? Oh, no, it's not. It's in here. I think I'm probably going to repurpose this room here. I'm going to take down, I'm also going to use my correct pickaxe, and I'm also probably going to go and dump some stuff into a chest. And I'm also probably going to move that over here for now. So we could probably put the little compacting machine here or something. We do have quite a bit of space in this room, which is nice, but I'm going to repurpose the farming machine into a power machine, right, with the 12 thermoelectric generators. We do also actually, before I get too far ahead of myself, we do need to begin smelting some uranium, because we need 6 blocks of uranium. Now, we do already have actually a few blocks of uranium, right, thanks to our decay generators. We've got at least 2 on us already. How are we doing back here? That's another block right there. Now, of course, we do need to get the flux ducts to actually transfer the power. I think the pack wants us to go with the ones from Thermodynamics here, which are made with lead, redstone, and glass, which is really not too bad. We do already have 1 glass, and we also have, I believe, both lead and redstone. We do indeed. We don't quite... Oh, no, we do. Beautiful. I always forget that it's redstone like this, and then lead on either side. I always think it's 6 lead, 2 redstone, not 6 redstone, 2 lead, but I'm always wrong. And that's fine. So now we can head back out into here. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to power. And then in there, we're going to have you like this. Now, of course, we do have to jump back to that tunnel that we were looking at making earlier. And yes, the iron and copper. Now, thankfully, Isaac of the Past did actually begin smelting iron and copper. And so we should, I think, actually have pretty much everything it takes to make this light engineering block here. We need 8 iron plates, and that is about it. Now, of course, I'm going to move this as well, actually. The crafting station can probably now go over in here somewhere. For now, I'm going to put it there. I don't know if that's a great idea, given that our storage is still in the other box, but, you know, we can we can come back to that later. For now, though, we'll do this. We'll get 8 of you. And then I think that's pretty much everything. Now, once again, I have placed this in a location that prevents me from using my bookmarks, which is not what I am about. So, 2 of you, and then, boom, nice. So now, back in small compactor, we should be able to turn this into some tunnels. Let me just quickly check that I have the right press. I do indeed. So we throw that down, it gets kaplunked, like so. We have 1 tunnel. Now, the way these work is we should probably also use our crescent hammer for this, but my crescent hammer is not with me right now. We put this down, and then you'll see at the top it says down, and if you right-click and go up, north, south, west, east, and then it pops back off. So this correlates to where you pull out on the outside of the machine, if that makes sense. So, for example, we're going to set it to down, and what that means is, you'll see now that's connected. If we go out, it means that the power is going to come out of the bottom of this compact machine. If we set it to up, it would come out the top. If we set it to, south, it would come out this side. If we set it to west, it would come out this side. You get the idea. So you want to make sure you don't have to place the tunnel inside where you want it to be. For example, I could put the tunnel up here and then still have it come out of the bottom on the outside of the cube. So they don't have to line up like that. You just have to make sure you set it correctly when it's placed down. In here, though, we'll put down our first 3 uranium blocks. I guess here is fine. I'm going to quickly change my set point to here because this pillow is going to be water soon. And then we can put down our first generators here and here. We're going to put water down over there, which I guess actually we can also start doing whilst we wait for our uranium to smelt. Now, I do believe, after a bit of testing, that you do have to put down each block of water individually. You can't, for example, just put water at the top and have it flow down. I mean, you can, but you're not going to get the most power out of it that way. You want to put down 3 source blocks of water next to each set of thermoelectric generators. Now, of course, once you get up to the 3rd one, it's going to become a bit of a challenge, but should be doable. Okay, so that is good. These are all getting power now, which is lovely. We're going to put more uranium here. We're then going to put our last set of thermoelectric generators in the middle, and then we're going to fill the area that we're currently standing in with water. Now, we should have, I think, all of the uranium ready to go now. We do indeed. Beautiful. I'm going to stop that smelting because we do need, of course, more uranium if we're going to make more compact machines, and we do need it in grit form. But for now, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get 3 of those back inside of our machine. We can put those down over in the corner. So here, here, and here. We're then going to put these guys down, of course, here, here, and here. And then finally, chat, all we have to do now is grab our water and slowly begin enclosing ourselves in. I'll put the first one down here. Entry point is set. Beautiful. How do I want to do this? I guess I'll do this. Yeah, this is not too bad at all, actually. And then we'll just do that. Okay, so now we have a nice full room. The room is like completely full. I am going to move this. And I am also going to take advantage, I think, of our leadstone flux duct. So I'm going to put it here. The power does come out of the bottom, like this. So now this is receiving 240 redstone flux per tick from this tiny compact machine. And then we're also going to go ahead and replace down our auto clicker from earlier. But before we do that, I do want to move everything up just a little bit because people did inform me that we can use our poop to make some of our dirt into fertile dirt, this stuff right here, which you can place underneath regular farmland to help crops grow that little bit faster. So I think for now, I will, what am I going to do with this storage? I think I have another bucket somewhere. I do, and it's also full of storage. Of course it is. Beautiful. In that case then, let's just... I don't want to waste the storage, although I'm not too sure if we're necessarily going to need it. But let's go ahead and pick all this up. All right. We just spent the last couple of minutes setting up this new quote-unquote high-tech setup for growing and automating bonsai trees. And whilst it does technically work, it uses the auto clicker here with the watering can to right-click and gather water and also, use the water in the area here to grow the bonsai tree faster. And then that bonsai tree is then sucked up and processed by the sawmill. As Twitch chat has very kindly pointed out, there is a much more easy and efficient way of doing this in the form of the garden cloche, which is also mentioned in the quest book, but I forgot about it and I'm a fool. So we're going to pivot, mostly because I think the garden cloche is going to be faster than this. It's also going to be more compact than this because, as you can see, this does take up a substantial amount of space, but on top of that, it also frees up these 2 auto clickers here to be the first 2 auto clickers to actually work with real pickaxes, right? And actually give us some resources that we are desperately in need of getting. So let's have a look. In order to get a garden cloche, we need 2 treated wooden planks, 1 iron mechanical component, 4 glass, and then 1 vacuum tube. The vacuum tube does require a blueprint that I do not believe we have yet. And that, maybe we do have this? Oh, no, we don't. I see. Press molds is this one. The components is this one. So we do need 1 aluminum, although I don't know if we can get aluminum, chat. Getting it from sand is such a chore. I wonder what a pick made from it would do. Remember, sometimes tasks are better to do later. If you go the way of science, you'll be able to get these annoying chunks completely automatically. I see. So presumably, once we have 3 aluminum, we can make an aluminum pick, and then we can use that to get 100% aluminum from the walls. So you can basically get a pick, get enough aluminum to make a pick, and then use that aluminum pick to get an infinite amount more aluminum, right? So it looks like we do have to get the first 2 pieces from sand. Thankfully, that's end stone. I was going to say, thankfully, it has a 45% drop chance. It doesn't. It has a 7.5% drop chance if we use an iron stiffened mesh, which I think we will do. Thankfully, though, the sand is not too difficult to get. So let's go and grab our sieve real quick, which I believe is over in one of these chests. We did upgrade to a flint stiffened mesh, and so again, thankfully, the upgrade from flint stiffened mesh to iron stiffened mesh is not too bad. I believe it looks something like this and this. Beautiful. We'll throw that down, pop you in there, and then now we just need the sand. The game is getting a little laggy. I hope that's not something that sticks. It might be my my clickers here with the water. There does seem to be some kind of visual glitch going on over there that I hope doesn't cause too many issues going forward. We do already have 7 sand, and then we've got extra cobble and gravel in there. So I'll start with the 7 that we have. If we get the 4, I guess we need 12. Gosh, we need 12 aluminum. We're not going to get it from 7 sand, right? But we can give it a try. Finally, we have 3 chunks of aluminum. We can head back to this compact machine. We can smelt up those 3 chunks of aluminum. We can craft up these guys. We can get our sticks. We can make a pickaxe of aluminum. Not only is that a quest that we have now completed, but also we can put it in our pickaxe slot. We can toggle the macro. And now, chat, we have as much aluminium as we like. And look at the durability on that thing. Jeez. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. 23 aluminium. Perfect. All right. The reason that we did all that, the reason we went through like 45 minutes of sifting to get that aluminum is because all we need is 1 aluminum ingot in order to get the garden cloche. We need the vacuum tube. The vacuum tube requires the engineer's blueprint. The engineer's blueprint requires the 1 aluminum here. We already have this one. This one is for metal presses. This one down here is for crafting components, which is the one that we need. So, back over here, what are we missing? We need 1 copper, 1 iron, 3 lapis, and 3 paper. Now, I don't know if we have 3 paper, but we definitely have what it takes to get the sugarcane for it. We need, what was it, 1 copper, 1, I should bookmark this. We need 1 copper, 1 iron, 1 aluminum. So the copper we have, the iron we have, I think it's in our other chest, and then the aluminum we, of course, now, thankfully, have. Paper-wise, we have 5 pieces. Beautiful, so we are good to go. And then lapis-wise, we've got a ton of lapis. So I think, chat, that we are ready for our first garden cloche. So let's head back over here. Let's grab at least 1 iron ingot and then craft up this guy. So now we need 1 glass, 1 copper wire, 1 redstone, and 1 nickel plate. Thankfully, we did smelt up, I think, quite a bit of nickel earlier on in today's stream. And I believe that is over in here somewhere. I do really need to sort out my inventory. But for now, we just need the 1 nickel plate. So I'll take that. We can craft that with the hammer to get that. Beautiful. We then also need at least 1 copper, so that we can get that copper wire, which is hammer, plate, and then plate with clippers, gets you the copper wire, and then copper wire, redstone, glass, and the plate. Glass we also have. Fantastic. So that should be the vacuum tube taken care of. And then at that point, chat, I think we're pretty much there. So over here, we'll replace this with the new blueprint. We will select the vacuum tube, and then we'll just put in the items, I guess. So 1, I don't think it matters which order you place these in. It doesn't. Beautiful. And so now, we just need this guy, which requires 4 iron plates. I think we are actually out of iron, of all things. So I probably do need to go and smelt up a little bit more over in here. But I'm pretty sure that we are, other than that, chat, good to go. You should really have all your items and crafting tables in 1 room. I agree. And actually, people did remind me that you can pick up the strong boxes and they don't lose their inventory, which was one of my my worries. I was going to say I want to move these, but it's going to be a pain to move. But that's actually false, because I can move all these and it's not going to be a pain to move because you can pick them up and they retain their inventory, which is brilliant. So let's just go ahead and put all these down here to save us from having to wander between our different dimensions too much. And also, you know, might as well go ahead and move these over as well for the time being. Make like a little storage wall. Let's have a look. So we'll take you. And then that's everything it takes to make one of these guys. Beautiful. We'll then put this down, I guess for now, like right here. We can always reconfigure this in the future. Power goes in at the top, which is why this guy goes right about there. And then, chat, all we have to do, I believe, is take one of these and one of these. I would like to not be flooded with water in an ideal world. And also, I have no idea where that dirt just went. But if we take 1 dirt and 1 bonsai oak sapling, you stick the dirt in the bottom, the bonsai oak sapling in the top. Does it need water? It does need water, doesn't it? That could be an issue.